Hello LAP, this is Brandon Reisinger coming to you with your Chairman's Report. Start off with the order bank. The Escape is at 28,187. Corsair is at 7,500 for a total of 35,187. Those are all 2026 units at this point. We're done with the 25s, so we should stop seeing quite as much of a flux in the order bank. Bulletin should be going out here any minute. Night shift is going to be laid off next week, September 15th. Don't have a bulletin for this yet, but it is kind of looking like day shift may be laid off the week of the 22nd. I'm going to call it likely at this point. Does not look to be any more down weeks after that. I think once we get these two out of the way, we are going to be done. So that's kind of what that looks like. Enjoy your time while you got it. Probably going to work between now and the end in December. The check stub site was down last night. Got quite a few calls about that. I do not know exactly what the issue it was. I can tell you that the check stub site is not ran here locally, Life at Ford. That is handled up north. We reached out this morning. I can tell you about 8:30 this morning it did let me log on the work computers, and somebody was just telling me that about an hour ago it worked for them on their cell phone as well. So that's back up. Not real certain what happened or why it was down. I know they've been having some issues here lately. It seems like more so on Tuesday than others, so I don't know if they've got something where they can't handle the traffic when everybody's checking their check stubs or what the issue is there, but it is working at this point. We had our open house over the weekend, and that went very well for anybody that attended. I hope you and your family enjoyed that. It was a good time. Weather looked iffy in the morning, but it turned out to be a beautiful day, and we had a really good turnout for that. So I want to thank everybody that came out for that. The window is closed on the transfer opportunities that we spoke about, the postings that went up last week. We had 5 takers for the Michigan openings. Actually, we had 5 that got it. We had several people sign up. We had 5 that got it for the Michigan openings. There were 5 openings for Denver. We had 3 people that took those, and nobody took the New York opening. I spoke about this a little bit last week on the timing of these two. I want to encourage everybody, if you think that you might be looking to or willing to move out of town, go ahead now and take a look at where we've got plants and see if there's something that might interest you. Our assembly plants, our parts plants, like our transmission plants, engine plants, things like that, those are pretty easy to identify. Most of them are in the Midwest. So if say you're looking to get back to Ohio, you might want to take a look and see, would Cleveland interest me? Would OHAP interest me? Would Sharonville interest me? Same way with Michigan. You've got Chicago, you've got Kansas City, and I'm not saying any postings are coming for any of these places, but go ahead and prepare yourself. Just identify what you would be interested in, and then if it comes up, it's going to make it easier to make a decision. When we get these postings, we get them on very short notice, and the postings, by the book, stay open for 3 days. So once they're put up, you've got 3 days to make a decision and get your paperwork turned in, or you miss the window. So if you know ahead of time, hey, I'm looking to get to here and I'd be willing to be inside of this circle to get there, it's going to make it easy. Now, we're going to have some weird stuff that happens with these HVCs because not everybody knows where the HVCs are. HVC is a high velocity center. It's a parts depot is what it is. What they do is they have a collection of Ford parts, and when your dealership needs a piece to fix your vehicle and they don't have it sitting on their shelf, that's who they call, and that's where that part would come from. And those are spread out every couple hundred miles. So we could easily see one of those pop up for Texas, Colorado, New York, Michigan, wherever. I can't sit here and tell you that I know, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you decided, hey, I'd really love to be in Alabama, You could go Google and see where the nearest HVC is in Alabama and see if that's something that would intrigue you. And then if it were to pop up, you'd have a little bit better idea, wouldn't be quite as blindsided. Again, you might be doing research for no reason because we may not see a posting for that. But I do foresee more of these postings coming in the future. Could be something where we see there's one opening. It could be something where there's somewhere that's got 20 openings. I don't know. But I do think we're going to see more of these, and I encourage you to kind of get ahead of it a little bit if there's an area that you find desirable. Now that I've rambled about that a whole bunch, we've got a lot of people that are getting random audits from the unemployment office. Had a little bit of a back and forth last week on those. We do still need to fill those out, even though we're e-filed for and we have a definite return to work date. It's a random audit. If you don't send it back at all, you're going to get a failure to respond, and they're going to freeze your benefits. So the next time you go to claim unemployment, you won't get anything, and we'll have to go try and get it fixed. If you get one of those random audits in the mail, fill it out and answer it honestly. You know, when it asks about the weeks that you worked and the weeks that you didn't work, just answer like you're answering for the last down week that we had, where it asked for a return to work date. Give them the Monday that followed that down week. I got some clarification. There's a part back there on work search. So we actually do have to answer some of those questions. There's questions on there about what work we're willing to do, how far we would be willing to travel in order to do that work. We have to answer those. There's another portion on there that asks for you to list places that you searched for work. I was told we can leave those blank because we're on an e-file and have a definite return to work date. We don't have to fill that portion out, but we do have to fill out everything else. So if you get one of those in the mail, make sure you fill it out. Make sure you mail it back, because if you don't, it's going to cause issues down the line. The only other thing that I've got this week, last week I gave a wrong date on the union meeting. When I did my video, I said the union meeting was going to be on Tuesday the 9th, which was yesterday, and it was not. It got moved to the third Tuesday this month because a lot of the e-board members are out of town this week. So the union meeting is actually going to be on the 16th at KTP, and that's at 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. Hopefully see you at one of those there. I did want to get a little bit of a tidbit out. We are planning some stuff for the November union meeting. The November union meeting we're going to have at LAP. It'll be the last one before we go out. We're not guaranteed the December meeting is going to be before we go down for the retool. We're going to have a bunch of resources set up at that. We're going to have some folks from the unemployment office to answer questions, help you with any concerns or issues you might have as we go into that. They're not going to be signing you up for unemployment because we're not going to be at that point then. But if you've got something going on your account that you want to get addressed before we go out, they'll be there to help with that. The credit union's going to be set up. We're going to have a couple of other things that are going to be there. Also planning on, I think they're talking about doing something a little bit better than the typical hot dog. Not guaranteeing you a sirloin steak here or anything, but I think it's going to be a slight improvement from the hot dogs at least. I believe that's all that I've got for this week, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.